God. In the past, the title for today's talk is Why is this stuff coming up? In the past number of months, I've been talking to you about all the energy that's been coming our way. Started with the 3 full moons in April, May, and June. And then, of course, summer solstice. And now we've got the solar eclipse coming in August the 21st, somewhere around there, and a lunar eclipse. And so there's a lot of energy, because everything is energy, and especially when things like that happen in the universe. This time, okay? So there's a lot going through us, a lot of changes happening. And I want to say this, your I Am presence has magnetized this information into your sphere of awareness right now because of who you are and why you are on earth during this auspicious time. The information that's being shared with you today from the company of heaven is something that you are aware of on a higher level of consciousness. Your I Am Christ consciousness is aware of this and why you're here, but you may not be able to remember it in this dense physical plane. So we experience it quite differently. The divine intent of this sharing is to remind you that this is the time for you to fulfill your purpose and your reason for being on earth right now. We can look around us and see a lot of struggle and strife going on. We can look at the government of the United States or the government of all the other countries in the world where there's issues going on. We can look at all of the weather patterns that are happening in our country and around and wonder what is going on. We can look at our own lives and wonder what is going on. We have people here in our congregation today that are suffering through physical ailments, and probably those that are suffering from some emotional upsets. Is that true? And this stuff is happening in a very uncomfortable way to motivate us to wake up to the awakening humanity in action in our life. And it's a critical step that's clearing the way for the global events that will be taking place during the August eclipse. So the beings of light want all of us to know this truth, because they're very aware of how difficult the challenges are that humanity is facing right now. And we knew what it was going to be like when we volunteered to be here, but we just forgot when we came into physical form, and now we're being reminded again. So, it may feel like the majority of you are experiencing stuff that you've already experienced before. Or it's a struggle that you're stuck in something in a certain place and you're not moving. I've had clients that I've been working with, one who called me a couple of weeks ago and was really upset because she felt like she was still stuck in the same place she's been before. And she's going, why? I've already went through it. Why is this happening again? And I told her it's not the same thing. Once you experience something, it's gone. What may be coming now seems similar because it's like peeling an onion. You get to a different level of it. But sometimes we have a hard time with that. We go, oh God, it's so frustrating, and I feel depressed, or I feel like I'm being held back by the energy that's going on. Anybody can connect with that? No? Even I've been going through that myself too, and I see this, yes, it's right now. It feels like the energy, it kind of goes up and we feel high and excited, and then it goes down like this, and we're feeling depressed and unhappy, or there's things going on. And so we might ask ourselves, why is this stuff coming up? Well, to understand it more, let's go back a little ways. When we chose to be on this path of manifesting abundance, love, and health, that means when you chose to come into physical form, you are really stepping into a spiritual or energetic path. And when we do that, in the beginning of it, when we first started to wake up a bit to something different outside of ourselves and inside of ourselves, it was a lot of fun. We learned about intentions. We worked on those, or affirmations, or positive feelings. And wonderful things showed up, awesome manifestations that occurred to us. We experienced a honeymoon, which is what happens all the time when you're in a relationship with something new. The further that we progress in our work and our understanding, we start learning more truths, and then we have to start learning how to manifest it and make it work in our own lives. The more that we learn, and we are intrigued by this metaphysical, spiritual, energetic world. We may have started visiting psychics or healers, took classes on chakra work or energy or meditation, classes that are offered here at the church. We read more. And we started to find out there was a whole lot more to this whole world of metaphysics and spirituality and connection to the Christ consciousness. Do you all remember those times when they were there? And we kept moving and we kept growing forward. And so new energy started coming towards us. And there's been times in the past when we've gone through the same stuff that may be happening right now. Because again, it's like a cycle and it comes around. And if you look at it this way, it grows up and it comes around. And this is why when it crosses the line before, it feels like it's the same thing. But it's not. So we have to remember that. It's a little different. Something slightly different about it that we need to look at and just saying, instead of saying, oh my God, I'm caught here. So when this new energy is coming in, there's a reason for it. And again, to remind you that you all chose, you knew this because we knew it before we came down in a physical form. What was going on in our lives? Why were we choosing to come at this time? All of us chose to be here because our soul wanted to experience this growth on a higher level, wanted to experience what was going on so it could give us the impetus to move forward in connection to our Christ consciousness. So then you ended up coming here to fellowship. You found this place that says, this fits in with me. Here's some people that are like mine that I can come and connect with and listen and learn for the classes and listen to the talks and the music and whatever goes on. So I can share more about this divine energy. I can share more of who I am and receive more of who I am from the others. But if we persist and we go deeper on an ego level, finding out about that, first of all, we discover that many of our desires and wants come from a place of lack. They are about neediness, what we've been missing, wishing that we had. Wish I had this, I wish I had that. We end up discovering emotion because we're starting to do a deeper work, beloved ones. So as we do that, we start to discover emotions that we didn't know we had that may be heavy, anger, hurt. We discover negative, harsh thought patterns that are driving us. We identify beliefs about how things should be that come from old family rules. It should be this way. And you got to watch anytime we get stuck on using that word should. Because these discoveries then, and they're there for a purpose when we start seeing them, they're things that we buried within ourselves in our childhood, and they start to come up. How am I doing something that I was told by my mother or my father? How am I still doing something I was told by my church that didn't fit with me when I grew up? All of these changes come up and they smack us in the face. Take a look at this, beloved. And so we look at these old family rules and all these old ideas and these old ways of being that no longer affect us, are us, but they affect us. They affect our manifestations because everything comes about from consciousness. And our consciousness is affected by everything that we experience in our lives. So then we would discover our inner child inside. And there's a lot of work to do with our inner child to release the pain from the past that child is still feeling inside. And then we're introduced to our ancestral line. We could look at that in different ways. First of all, we could look at it that here we are in New Thought, and all the teachers that have been in New Thought from years back, which I talk about in the class, I've talked about here. I meant to bring the flyer about it and I forgot, but there's a line of teachers that we've come from, a line of people over the last 100 years that have been involved in New Thought, and here we are a part of it. We had a talk about this on a call for the Seminary Spiritual Peacemaking a while back. The ancestral line was when Jimmy Twyman started the seminary in 2003. There were people that joined it. We had a class online with this, the students, the teachers at that time. It was a recorded lesson. And so I know that I did, and a lot of people listened to it and going, oh yeah, I know what that means. I've experienced that myself. And yet these were people that were talking about their experiences back in 2003. And it's the same thing. We can connect to the past because it's all part of the same. It's the ancestral line. And we have a connection with people from the past. We're not alone. There are others who have gone through this themselves. And we get to experience it as well, and we get to have a connection to it. And then we get to find out maybe old agreements that we made about who we're being, who we need to be for somebody else to make them happy that no longer works. Some of those agreements were tied to poverty. Oh God, I can't be spiritual and have money at the same time. Or abuse. How many people and women especially have stayed in relationships that are abusive to them, but because they're afraid to move forward or to get out of it. So that's an agreement that they made, or boundary violations, shame, all of those sort of things. As we continue to move forward, we've learned about past lifetimes. Maybe you've done some regressions. I know somebody in this group that has, two of us. And, or to go back and look at even the fact that we have the truth, what New Thought says, the truth of going through past lives and how it affected us and waking up to that. We've noticed repeated patterns in our relationships and job histories. We leave one relationship thinking that, oh, I need to get out of this because it's not fitting me what I want. And we end up another one and there's still some similar stuff going on. Same things with work. With the right practice, then we learn how to clear out those old patterns. We come here and we talk about it. We learn from what I speak about up here, about the things that we go through. Maybe talking with somebody else in this congregation, find out, oh God, yes, I know what you're talking about. I've experienced that. So we are here to clear out all that old stuff and all the baggage that we have to release. And so as a result of doing that, it goes through an ebb and a flow. This way maybe. Ebb and flow. Clearing out the old so we can bring in the new. Always, that's what it is. And we have to be careful, beloveds, that we don't get stuck in judging what's going on. Oh my God, here's this stuff again, and I'm depressed and I'm unhappy, and why is this happening? And we start judging ourselves. And maybe we get back into old beliefs of being angry at God again like we were when we were children. Why is this going on? God, I did this work, I've cleaned it out. Why is it happening again? We don't want to do that because we need to be in the moment and love ourselves and accept ourselves. It's happening for a reason, and remember that we chose it. We get more help with our lessons here in life, here at the church. We learn more about those people maybe in the past that you went to whose work was effective, and maybe some who weren't effective. You tried a class with a teacher that didn't quite fit right with you. That's okay. We found out that certain practitioners hold a higher vibration and we feel a connection to their work. It feeds us. And hopefully that's why you come here every Sunday, because there's something here. My talks, the music, whatever it is that we have, spiritual readings that feed you. That's what it's about. So then we have to watch when we're operating from our personality or our ego. Those are the parts of ourselves that want us to keep feeling it's the same thing, that wants to keep judging ourselves, that wants to judge others, that wants to look at everything that's happening in the world from a negative viewpoint, from a judgmental viewpoint, instead of just saying, so it is. Just accepting what life is right now and knowing that it is divine all the time. We are divine beings. We are one with God. We have to remember that. And maybe even at some point, it may get to the point after you've gone through teachers or you've been here where you stop the work for a while. Maybe it becomes a little overwhelming and you withdraw. I've done that in my life, withdrawn for a while because I felt like it was too overwhelming. There was times I needed to process energy through, which is very important. Stuff comes in, we need time to process it through. Hopefully we wake back up again and go, here I am again. I want to be here. I want to experience more of this growth that I've been feeling before, as painful as it is. So, at that time we may have a judgment, thinking that this spiritual work's not really doing what I wanted it to do. Why are we doing it anyway? Why am I here? One big question. Why am I here? What am I to be doing in my life? How do I express myself? If we feel stuck, beloveds, which happens a lot, and we ask that question, it doesn't feel right to me, something's going on. The one thing we can do is to look at it and say, okay, here's a time to clear out and to heal. Something needs to be healed. Let's always keep that in our mind when it starts to come back again, that energy, and we feel the negativity, we feel the fear, the depression, whatever's going on, stuff coming up. Okay, something's happening. It's time to heal. I need to allow it to occur. There's energy coming in from the solar system, from the company of heaven, from the guides, from whatever. I need to take it in. I need to raise my vibrational energy, even if it's just a little bit, because that's how we attract things in our life, how we vibrate. And so if I'm on this level of where I've been vibrating like this, of love and feeling joy and happiness, and then all of a sudden I'm feeling something else and I'm vibrating here, I need to be aware of that. Oh, my vibrational energy is not right. And maybe therefore, that's why there's stuff happening in my life, because I'm in fear of some sort, in judgment of some sort. And what we need to do by raising our vibrational energy as much as we can, if we can just raise it a little bit from where we're stuck for a moment. Oh God, I can feel a breath, a release. I feel something different. Then I can practice some more. And once we do that, beloveds, we're working towards unconditional love, which is why we're here. Unconditional love for myself, for other people around me, for the world, for everybody. It's like growing up from being a child to a teenager to an adult. Our interests, our priorities change as we're doing that. But sometimes when we're going through this healing process, we have to release people. We have to release energies that didn't work anymore. And we have a hard time with that sometimes. Like, we can look at somebody at work or our job or a relationship or whatever and says, this doesn't work for me anymore, but I'm really scared. I want to hold on to them, because who am I without these people in my life? If I say, no, my energy doesn't work and I'm not open to you being in my life anymore, which is an important thing to do, we're afraid of who we will be without them. That's the thing that we go through every time we experience change. We have to let go of something, but are we willing to do that? Who am I without this? Who am I without this person, without this job, without this thing happening in my life? Can I really let go of it? And to know that yes, you have to, because you're raising your vibrational energy, and whatever's going around isn't matching. Do you pay attention to that or your own? Time to pay attention to your own. What's right for you at this time. And so we have to let them go. We have to choose to replace them with new programs in ourselves, new thoughts about ourselves. I am. Remember those ones. I am love. I am joy. I am happy. I am one with God right now. To keep taking that, and to do it takes a lot of courage. Every time we do that. And we've done it before, and it's going to happen again, because that's the way it is about. It's the unknown that we keep stepping into. And we're not quite clear what that's going to be like. And sometimes we've had fear around it. Oh, I have to step in this direction. I'm not sure I want to do that. It's the same as letting go of anything, somebody in our lives, our old beliefs. The biggest thing, letting go of our old beliefs. And that's one of the good things about when this stuff comes up, because it makes us, if we're aware of it, it makes us start questioning those old patterns, those old beliefs. Who am I? Is this working in my life anymore? If it's not, then it's time to do something about it. And to remember, you don't have to do it alone. That's why we're here. We have this connection with God, with Source. We talk about that. We have a connection with each one of us. Maybe there's something that we can receive from another person here in this family called fellowship that would help us. We can call on the archangels, the ascended masters, all the healing terms, other people around us on the non-physical side as well as the physical side, to deal with all those things that may be challenging our spirituality. So it's time to wake up again on another level. It's time to do some healing inside of ourselves. We can do that. It's time to clear out the old. It's a new way of seeing what's going on. Instead of looking at the world the old way, from old judgments and old patterns, to start looking at it a different way. Start looking at it from a place of peace, a place of love. That's what we're here, being a spiritual peacemaker, in our lives, to see love out there rather than fear and judgment and separation. And so when we start that, beloveds, everything comes up for review. We start looking at everything of our life. Does this fit me? That's why we go through sometimes, like I've just been going through, changing things in my house. It doesn't fit the way it did before. Getting rid of stuff, clearing things out, moving stuff around. We all do that at periods of time. And it's because it's time to clear something out and to open ourselves up, to review our lives and to say what doesn't work for me, what works for me, so that I can begin to create a more expansive, powerful life. That's what New Thought is about. For all of us to have the thought inside to create the life that we desire and deserve, however that is. So the question is, can you allow yourself to release these old agreements? Can you attract in new energies that are more resonant with your intentions? Start small. That's how it's going to grow. So I want to share this because when we observe what's taking place in our outer world, it is obvious that something confusion is happening to us. We look at the governments, as I said, or the things, and it's confusing to us. Why is this happening? There are two statements in the Bible that describe what we're experiencing. The first says, "This is the time of screaming and the gnashing of teeth." And the second one says, "All that is hidden must now be revealed." So, the reason this is referred to as the time of screaming and the gnashing of teeth, and can we experience that ourselves? We've gone through that. It's because when we look at the outer world, we see all this negativity that's out there that's being pushed to the surface. And the reason for that is it's going to be transmuted back into the light, which creates the illusion that things are getting worse because it seems to be getting darker. But what we don't see is the incredible light of God that's underneath of it and pushing it out. The light has to push the darkness to the surface. And that means we as light workers should not get attached to it, should not get connected to it and go, "Oh my God, this is what's happening, and what does it mean?" Okay, no. It's coming up in me, something's releasing, the light of God is pushing it forward. And yes, I'm screaming and I'm gnashing my teeth, but it's all going to be okay. The second statement is the same thing, sort of. All that is hidden must now be revealed. It's the result of God's light pushing everything to the statement, to the forward. Not only the greed, the corruption, abuse of power, the lack, the separation, anything. It's all that stuff that stops us from revealing the truth of who we are. All that stuff that's in the way that stops us from standing up in our life and being the light that we are. And we sing that song, "I am the light," right? We talk about that. But how often do we really allow ourselves to stand forth and be the light and watch the negativity just push away? When we do this, it makes a difference to us, to each other, to the world, because we're all connected. The more that we grow, the more the light grows in the world, the more everybody else is affected. It's important for us to trust in God, but it's also important to step into that trust by demonstrating that we truly believe that all will be well, that it's time to release our fear-based constriction that holds us back from feeling the trust, to let it go. If life does not bring us the weather or any other preferred circumstance that we ask for, we should have faith that it will come. Maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. But to really have that faith that it's going to come, and until it arrives, we do the best we can. We connect to the light the best that we can. We accept us the best that we can, because all this energy is coming in. And to do that, it says that what we have to be first. Remember, I've talked about that? We want to be first. Be that one with God. Be the one that's a little bit more joyful, even with all this stuff going on. And from the doing, God will guide us. But one of the doing things is meditation. That's when things are getting worse, is when we should start meditating more and letting ourselves open up to God more. Recognizing that we are one with Divine Source. And the three words that I've told you before is surrender, trust, and gratitude. So right now, I need to surrender to God no matter what's going on. No matter what I'm feeling, what changes are going on, surrender myself to God. Trust that it's all going to be okay, and be in great gratitude that I'm here in this physical body, that I'm experiencing this, that I have the wisdom from New Thought to help change it. And as we move through all this stuff, we then experience emergence, like the light emerging from us, and it happens in 4 steps. Number 1, stop being a victim, and start taking responsibility for your life, for those things that happen. They are part of my growth. Don't feel like something's being done to you. Number 2, manifest the life you want by using visualization and becoming what you want. Okay, the power of my mind. I can create whatever it is I want. I need to become that. Maybe feel it. Think about it. Practice it so that it becomes more. That would be number 3. Then become more conscious and aware of everything that's happening around me. Be aware of my life, which includes not only this body and my home, but everything that everywhere I'm at is my life. Every place I'm at, since I'm a divine being, is a divine moment. I'm standing on divine ground. All of you are. Every moment, every place that you're at. And number 4, practice holding the presence of God and good in your life, which I've mentioned so much, even the class that I've taken called Practicing the Presence. We need to practice it. We don't have it totally together yet, do we? But we work at it by practicing it. So, as I allow God's gift to come in and accept them, wonderful things happen. And it takes being God, not acting like God or becoming like God, but being God. Being God right now, the oneness, source within me. And with the changes that we're going through, we're experiencing right now a global dark night of the soul, which means that we are being prepared and tested for our next level of growth. And we can only arise to the level that we're aware of that. So I'm asking you to please be awake as much as you can during this time. There's a lot of energy coming in. There's a lot of stuff coming to the surface within us, with the world outside of ourselves. We need to be patient, not judge ourselves, but love ourselves even more. Because, beloveds, we need to remember that our true identity is as divine beings. That's never changed. No matter what you've gone through, what upset, what things you've let go of, it hasn't stopped you from being a divine being. You still are. We all are. We need to accept that. And even if there's a lot of stuff coming up, we're still divine beings. So, let's start looking at the fact that when that happens and it comes around, it's time to release the old and be open to the new to take us up to a higher one. And then we are higher and fly and we're doing great. And then it comes back down. It's time to release some more old and come back up to the new. But always from a place of divinity, from a place of being divine. And I'm here to help you with all that, with all the tools that Spirit has given me through all the years to help us all through that. I'm going through the shift. That's another thing we can call it. You're all going through the shift. We're here to support each other. If you want my help, all you need to do is ask. Namaste. So let's have some comments back.